Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Hill is allegedly unlikely to play against the Lions, the Norm Smith medalist. It's time to talk all things black and white. Okay, so as of last night, we get a tweet from a journalist from The Age, who represents The Age, Jake Nile. Collingwood are unlikely to pick Norm Smith medalist Bobby Hill for Saturday's prelim against the Lions. And then a little bit of positive news in this shit sandwich is, but Jeremy Howe, a probable inclusion. We'll swiftly move across to the article itself to get some more context, and then we can go from there. Pies unlikely to risk Norm Smith medalist Bobby Hill, so we'll touch on that comment as well. The Magpies have not placed the ceiling on Hill, continuing to leave it open for him to return, but 5 days from the prelim, sources familiar with the Hill situation, speaking confidentially, felt that he was less than likely to be picked for a prelim, Felt that he was less than likely to be picked for a prelim final, pitting the past two premiers. Conversely, veteran defender Jeremy Howe is likely to be selected for the clash, which is good. We can talk about that in a moment. Hill has lost conditioning during his periodic absences from training in the second half of the season. And while he has returned to training, coach Fly McRae, his match committee, and conditioning boss Jared Wade have to weigh in up whether the dynamic Hill is ready to play for the duration of an intense final against a formidable opponent. Now, we're talking risk. So what's been the narrative around players speaking about Bobby Hill to the media? So we look at Steele Sidebottom today. We look at Jordan De Goey yesterday. They point towards if he ticks the boxes and if Jared Wade sees fit that Bobby Hill can match the rigors of the intensity that is required and the conditioning levels that are required for a prelim, then he will be selected on that basis. So, and that's what we talk about the comment Collingwood are unlikely to risk Bobby Hill. Look, if he doesn't get selected for the prelim and we win, Bobby will simply play no part in the grand final. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. For me, on a personal level, it would be disappointing. I'm in the camp that let's say you got 22 or 21 fit players on the field. Can you not have Bobby Hill, at the very least, as a sub against Brisbane, who a team in which he's had an all-time performance against in a grand final? Starcevic would be having nightmares about the potential matchup. He's a big-time player, big moments player. He looked good when he came back against Brisbane as a sub in that quarter. He was electric. He looked good against the Dolphins in the VFL. He looked better than where Jordan De Goey was at that point. Probably not a fair comparison given the lengthy delay to Jordan De Goey's rehab. So maybe we'll curb that for a moment. But even if you want to go back to the VFL game against Geelong in the scratch match, he's kicked 4 goals, had some time through the midfield. He's attending the sessions. I mean, my question is, my curiosity is, where are the shortfalls in Bobby Hill's conditioning metrics, if we want to talk numbers? What is it? His repeat efforts aren't there at training, or is it just simply match conditioning? Moreover, are they concerned of having Bobby Hill and Jeremy Howe both in the same side who have had long layoffs for both different reasons? Am I torn on this? I'm not. Look, we talk about calculated risks. When your side is reasonably settled, I think you can take on 1 or 2 risks here or there. And I think Bobby Hill would be the perfect one. And I put him as a sub. Play him as a sub. Give him a quarter and a half, whatever it may be. I think that's better than not. And I can only imagine the uproar from our fan base if the game doesn't go our way and a Bobby Hill doesn't play. We all know the result doesn't hinge on one player. That should be the preface to this. That is always We should all know that going into this conversation. But when you're this deep into it, and it comes down to moments, and it comes down to playing against the reigning premiers, and it comes down to explosive players like Bobby Hill who can impact the game with a 5-minute stretch. Like, we've put it this way, we have managed minutes in game all season long. Pendlebury, you've seen Ned Long even have 65, 70% time on ground. Mason Cox plays half a game sometimes. And that's when he's not a sub. That's when he plays the entire game. There are games where he genuinely sits at 50, 60% time on ground. You're telling me we can't find a way to manage Bobby Hill's minutes? I don't know. I don't know if it's a smokescreen and we're covering something. I'm not covering something up, but like using the fitness as a reason rather than the trust and bringing someone in like Bobby Hill, who has had a tumultuous period at the Pies, while players like Will Parker and Rowan Steele have put their head down. And while I can appreciate that, I just can't. At the end of the day, like, he's a gun. He's a Norm Smith medalist. He's training. He's doing. I feel like he's doing. What's enough? Like, I feel like he's doing enough at training. We see training. It's open training. It's open to the public. We see that. We've seen him in games throughout the course of the last 8 weeks. Frankston, Brisbane, and then Geelong scratch match. I mean, goodness, he wasn't injured. He wasn't injured. He was just away for personal reasons. Look, it's frustrating because we go back 2-3 years, or maybe a little bit more, let's say 5-6 years, players who are on the edge when it comes to, are they good? Are they going to be good to go? Are they not good to go? I mean, not long ago, you had Buddy Franklin, who played a full season for Sydney, and he didn't train. He just played the games. So are we just taking this? Are we just taking the piss with the level of how pedantic we're being with the conditioning of Bobby Hill? If it's purely just the conditioning, guys, if it's purely the conditioning, I'm probably not buying it. If there's something else, if there's a story or something else that we're not aware of, then so be it. But where I stand with all of this is if it's genuinely down to conditioning, play him as a sub. He can't give us a quarter and a half at a good level defensively as a pressure forward, and then what you get with his offensive weapon is what you get. I find it hard to believe that Bobby's not good enough for at least a quarter and a half. And in the absolute off chance that somebody gets subbed off early, it's a prelim. Like, I don't know, like there's something called gut running. There is something called that will, that determination, that grit. Like that can get you through games when you're not fit as well. And this is the penultimate game. This is the prelim final to get into a grand final. I just feel like if Bobby Hill doesn't get selected, it just to me, it's not the be all end all, but it could be a missed opportunity to take a risk that if and when looked back on, it could look bad on the whole, like the amount of power that the SNC has in this group. And it's worked out well for some players. Like SNC has worked out to a T for a Jordan De Goey, who's been patient and meticulous in his rehab all season long. So credit where credit's due. I just think there should come a point in time where if Fly genuinely wants Bobby Hill to play in this game, and he thinks he's good enough and fit enough, then sometimes you should have you should be able to exercise the power of being a head coach and saying, look, Jared, like, appreciate your feedback and what you think about the situation, but I need Bobby. I need Bobby in the side, and I'm going to play him as a sub, and I'm willing to put my name on that. So Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. The other thing that I forgot to mention, generally speaking, the journos, when reporting on Bobby this year, have been pretty accurate. So I would assume that based on the tweet we get from Jake Niall, The Age, I'm assuming that Bobby won't play. Because every tweet leading into games and that surrounded the name of Bobby Hill, it's been pretty accurate. So I'm going to say this one isn't too far off either. But time will tell. Let me know what you think in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, go Pies.